It's great to have you, Mr. Mayor. This is a great, great day. We're going to start everyone this morning with a song from the Monarch Butterflies, from the Monarch Academy, because this is a celebration. This is the beginning of a brand new day in Coldstream Homestead, Montebello. So let me get out of the way for the children. This is a way to start. This is our future.
Right from about here over, okay? So wherever you guys ready to set up.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Malik Kelly. I'm the choir director at Monarch Academy. And this is the Monarch Butterflies. Pretty much a choir composed of everyone in grades K through 8. Today, our first selection will be one that we all know. So, if you feel it, sing with us. And here we go. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on, for it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
Lean on me
When
you're not strong. I'll be your friend.
I'll
help you carry on.
for
For it won't be long
until
I'm gonna need
somebody.
somebody to lean on.
So just call on me, brother, when you need a hand.
We all need somebody to lean on.
I just might have a problem that you'd understand.
We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong.
And
I'll be your friend.
I'll
I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long
until
till I'm gonna need
somebody.
somebody to lean on.
So just call on me, brother, when you need a hand.
We all need somebody to lean on.
I just might have a problem that you'd understand.
We all need somebody to lean on.
So just call on me, brother, when you need a hand.
We all need somebody to lean on.
I just might have a problem that you'd understand.
We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong.
And
I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. For it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on.
And for our second selection, it'll be our rendition of Rise Up. Okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and you're broken.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can find a fighter, but I see you, so we gon' walk it out. And mountains, we gon' walk it out. And mountains,
Now rise.
and I'll rise up.
Just like the day.
Rise like the day, I'll rise up.
Rise unafraid.
I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up.
And
And I'll do it 1,000 times again.
I'll rise.
And I'll rise up.
High.
High like the waves, I'll rise up.
Despite.
In spite of the ache, I'll rise up. And I'll do it 1,000 times
And
again.
to the first one, I'll rise.
And I'll rise up.
Rise like the day.
Rise like the day, I'll rise up.
Rise unafraid.
Rise unafraid, I'll rise up. And I'll do it 1,000 times again.
I'll rise up.
And I'll rise up.
High.
High like the
That was fantastic, and what a great way to start the morning. I want to introduce myself. I'm Michael Braverman. I'm the director of our Department of Housing and Community Development, and I want to just say those words again, housing and community development, because that's what it's about today. And I have a couple of remarks before we call our mayor, Bernard Jack Young of Baltimore City, up to say a few words and lead us off. But I wanted to ask the mayor's forgiveness for a second, because sometimes I get confused, Mayor. I know I work for the mayor, but sometimes I think I work for Mark Washington. You know what I mean? It's just, and anybody who knows what I'm talking about knows that what it's about here ultimately. Where's Mark? Where's that guy? There he is. So much of what's happening here today is a result of the tenacity and the hard work and the vision of this in one individual, Mark Washington, and what he's brought to this community going forward. So I just wanted to start there. So forgive me, Mayor. Every now and then I wonder who I'm really working for. So this couldn't be a more important project. For those of you who remember what this looked like just a few years ago, this was among the most blighted spots in the city of Baltimore. It was difficult for this community to maintain property values, to attract new residents, to be the community that this community aspired to be with this block in the condition it was. And so the first stage was doing the demolition, and that was a lot of work. I want people to understand that it cost a lot of money, and it took a lot of time, and it took a lot of partnerships across the state and the city and the community to move that forward. And it took a lot of lawyering. There's a lot of lawyers sewing up a lot of 12-foot wide parcels to produce a development parcel like this today. There were about 80 houses on both sides of these streets, and it probably cost north of $10 million, and it wouldn't have happened without our partnership with the state. And I also just wanted to note, just for a quick second, how many folks here on the city DHCD team that helped make this happen, including all of our great housing inspection operations. Just raise your hand on the DHCD side, making this happening. And then our state partners. We probably have a host of our state partners from state DHCD to make this happen. How many of you are here today? So raise a show of hands. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, our community partners and leaders are probably half the crowd here, right? Thank you so much. I want to say that that it took a lot of work in addition to our community partners and city and state partners. It was a persistent work of Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark, who I think I met her when I was an intern with the Hamden Task Force on Youth when Jimmy Carter was the president. And that's the truth. Yeah, it's taken a long time. So here we stand, ready to talk about phase one of the development. We're looking, if you look behind me, you'll see the block of Fenwick, 2700 block of Fenwick, and behind that, the block of Hugo. All of that will be coming down. This is the beginning of what will be an 8-acre reinvestment, redevelopment site. And before I want to call our mayor up, I just want to acknowledge other council and elected officials that are here today. So I see Councilman Robert Stokes, a hero to me and others. And Mary Washington, Senator, how are you? Thank you so much for being here. And am I missing anybody? Well, he's speaking, but yes, somebody who I've worked with for so many years. And our council president, Brandon Scott, we're so excited to hear from you in a minute. So look, without further ado, Mayor Young, he has an award to make.
Good morning. Michael ain't leave nothing for me to say. But anyway, I want to acknowledge the elected officials again, starting with Senator Mary Washington, Senator Dr. Mary Washington, Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark, my councilman where I live, Councilman Robert Stokes, and the President of City Council, Councilman Brandon Scott, my partner. I just want to say, I don't like scripts. Do I have the script? Okay. I don't. Coldstream Homestead Montebello is a community that has experienced the same disinvestment that affects many other older urban neighborhoods. But we are here today to say that we're not going to trend any longer in that direction of population loss, abandonment, deterioration, and blight. Today we are here to announce a milestone, a turning point, significant forward movement in our vision for this community. The city has been working with Cold Spring Homestead Montebello for more than a decade on this Tivoly Triangle area. We've made a significant investment of capital. Mary Pat Clark knows how much effort has gone into getting us to this point today. Mary Pat Clark just been I don't know, I can't describe her. But when she wants something done, she just don't give up and she gets it done. So again, Mary Pat, thank you. And even without an investment of millions over the years, more than $10 million, what put us over the edge and allowed us to move forward fully with this 9-acre site is our partnership with the state. And I want to thank our state partnerships. Are any of them here today, state partners? Oh, there you go. Thank you, guys. Let Secretary Holt know that I thanked him. Wish he could have been here because he need to hear me ask for more and more and more money. Okay. Revitalizing this footprint is critical. There are 2 21st century schools in this footprint. Another community asset is Clifton Park. There's also Lake Montebello. One of the most significant schools in our city is right here, Dunbar High School. City College. I had to throw that in. In many ways, this is an urban oasis. So I'm pleased to be here today to announce the developer for Phase 1 of the Tivoly Triangle redevelopment area. The selected development team proposed to create the city's first net zero housing community. This is a community where homes generate 100% of the energy they consume by using renewable energy sources such as solar. When this project is complete, we'll be looking at 79 new townhomes on this cleared land, fixing 59 duplexes and 20 single-family homes. And not only that, as these homes are constructed, there will be 2 job training and workforce development components taking place, providing solar and green building technology training. Yeah, you can clap for that. What's more, these homes will be locally manufactured by Blueprint Robotics, a Baltimore housing manufacturer that use computer-based design and robotic technology to manufacture the framework and housing system. You can't help but be excited about what's about to happen to Chump. So without further ado, I'm pleased to announce that the development team of Urban Green LNW&A has been selected. Urban Green LLC is a Maryland-based minority-owned firm, and LNW&A, which stands for Leonard N. Weiner and Amp Associate, is a Delaware-based firm. We're going to ask them to come up to the podium so we can congratulate them on their selection as a developer for this project before we move forward. Well, just congratulate you. Congratulations and thank you. Congratulations and thank you. And we'll take photos with them after we finish. Now, Michael, is it my job to introduce the council president or yours?
I do take your preference.
Okay. Well, at this time, I would like to present to those of you the council president, Brandon Scott.
Council people, if you can just join me. Come. Good morning, everybody. This is a celebration. We're going to try that one more time. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Mr. Commissioner, before we go any further, I know that you said you think you work for Mark Washington. I know I work for Mark Washington. Everybody, this is a great day. For me, it's also one that brings up a lot of emotion and sentiment. I cut my teeth in city government cleaning up these lots with Mark Washington as a community leader. Him calling me at all hours of the night, telling me how that one day we're going to build new houses on this development. And in fact, I know the councilwoman might remember when I was a staffer in the council president's office, when we had the demolition, the council president couldn't show up. So they made me do the speech in her place right here. So it's very fitting that I'm here today. I'm here to say thank you to everyone that has put their blood, sweat, and tears into getting Tivoly, Hugo, and Fenwick development. We know Mark. We know the great work that Mark has done and his team. Everybody from the community that's here. Mark. Who else is here? Nikki is here. Susie lives here. The whole board is here. Everyone from Chum. The Chum board, everybody stand up. Stand up from Chum.
Wave your hands.
Wave your hands. Yes, if you can't stand up. Give them a round of applause. Mr. Mayor, I also have to remind you that there's another high school that's located on Tivoly, not too far from here, one known as Mergenthaler Vocational Technical High School.
Well, don't forget Reach.
And Reach. And when you think about Chum, there's only one person that come to mind outside of Mark. And for me, most people would think that my aunt and uncle, since they live in Chum, talk to me about how important Chum is the most. But outside of Mark, the second to that is Mary Pat. Mary Pat is all Chum all the time. I have never seen an elected official so dedicated to reversing the plight of a neighborhood the way that this strong councilwoman has done for Chum. And today is a great day. We're going to have new development into a neighborhood that is no longer forgotten, not just because of the work of the elected officials that you see here today and those have gone before us, but most importantly because of the work and the dedication of the community and the people here working together with their government, working together with private industry to come up with something that we know will transform this community and be an example of how we can transform Baltimore. So with that, I would like to take the privilege to introduce or just announce, I can't introduce her to anyone because I think everyone in the Baltimore region know who she is, the councilwoman from the 14th District, Councilwoman Mary Pat Clark.
What? Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Let me also add to the representatives here from government that Jeannie Ferretti is here because Delegate Maggie McIntosh is out of town and could not be here. Jeannie, where are you? Representing the delegate. Yes, thank you. This is a day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. From the sky, for those of you who are new to this all, the reason we call this the Tivoly Triangle is because if you're up in the air looking down, these three streets come together at Hartford Road and form a triangle leading across the street to the great Clifton Park, which everybody here has worked so hard to make one of the greatest parks in Baltimore City. I remember when we were first talking about the Tivoly area when we started the planning process that led to this day. Inez Robb, who is a long time resident of the Chum community, said, when we all came here, and we all came from East Baltimore. Thanks. From East Baltimore. We looked down the street, Tivoly, and all we saw were beautiful gardens. A gorgeous, gorgeous place to move and to take care of and to raise our children. And so by the time 2007 came around, when we sat down to plan the future, Tivoly was so crowded with drug dealers in the street that you could not drive down that street. And it was surrounded by abandonment for people who had given up because of the drugs and had left their houses. They walked out. They had to. They couldn't take it. And so from that sad development to today, we have many, many people to thank. And we've already thanked so many of them, but let me start with housing. The housing department was not crazy about the idea of this project. No, it wasn't your fault, Michael. It was way back. They didn't want to pass the ordinance to condemn the nothing. It was hard. It was hard. But Chum persisted, and we got that ordinance through, and we began the work. And at first it was mighty slow, but in recent days, in recent years, it's picked up speed because the vision became shared and the city realized, hey, this is important to the whole city, not just to East Baltimore. So thanks to housing. And let me mention Julie and Wendy, Tony, and of course, Michael, and who have endured with us to this day, working for Mark. To our new developers and their confidence in us, thank you. To the residents who don't live here anymore and had to move and move out to decent places. It took a long time, and that's part of the delays because they were choicy. You know, it's Chum about where they were going to go, but it was a hardship for them. And for us in Chum, this is the promised land here today. It's always been right here. We celebrate finding it again in this moment. Thank you all, and thanks most of all to the man of the hour, Mark Washington, and to his board of directors. I missed a card. Mark, I missed the card you're on. Oh, my goodness. Oh, to our Lean On leader, Mark Washington, who lives, breathes, and lobbies for the Chum now on the brink of his and our vision. So our welcome home packet includes the following for our developers to realize we already know how great we are. A new high school being built in the park across the street. 2 4-star schools in the Chum area. A new playing field across the street. A pilot housing grant, thank you, Mr. Braverman Company, to break the back of illegal dumping in this community, and a rehab partnership with Children's Guild, sponsors of the Lean On Chorus we just saw. So thank you, and I have it's my job to introduce. Mark Sisson. Yes. All right, thank you for being with me. I've got to do an introduction now and get off the stage before you count that I exceeded my 3 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, I am asked to introduce a person I have known for most of my life, certainly all of his, practically. One of the things I didn't mention, because I knew he was stepping up, is the major role Healthy Neighborhoods has played way back when nobody had confidence in us, except us, and the gentleman I'm about to introduce and thank as I do so, Mr. Mark Sisman. Yeah.
Happy to be here at the Mark Washington Fan Club. I'm going to do that too. When you're nearly the last speaker after 40 minutes and it's really hot out, you want to throw away your comments and be quick. Projects like this take a lot of partners, and I want to tell you that Mark and the Chum Board have been terrific partners for us. 18 months ago, they said, can you help go from vision to concept to financing, and we did it, and all the way along, they were supportive, they were positive. One of the positive things is listening to all of the previous speakers talk about assets, talk about opportunities, talk about how good this neighborhood is and can be. It wasn't long ago in Baltimore, all we do was focus on just vacant houses and all the things that are wrong. And I think the developers are going to have the benefit of great marketers in the neighborhood. I'm not going to repeat Mary Pat's speech. It's right, or the mayor's speech, or Brandon's speech. This is a great neighborhood. We did a couple of things that were useful. Most important, we brought in the Neighborhood Design Center and Jay Brody to take this vision of what could be here and draw it and put it on plans and enable developers to respond to it. And Jay and NDC really made a big difference in going from vision to conceptual to on paper. And I want to thank Jay, who's been a great partner in my life for a very long time. I'm going to do Mark Washington and I stood here about 18 months ago, and I looked at Mark and said, why should people move here? What is it this neighborhood has? And Mark ticked off every one of the things standing right here that make this a great development site. New schools, golf course, park. We're 7 minutes from Hopkins Hospital, major employer. 12 minutes from Hopkins University. A 5-minute bus ride to Morgan State. That's a lot of places that are important in Baltimore. He got it. He helped us get it. He was the best marketer going. He marketed to the city government to say, do this, and they had faith. And Michael and his colleagues deserve a lot. And the state, then Garland and the state people who had confidence in all of us in this site and the city, and Delegate McIntosh, who made a very important call. I hope you go back to Crownsville, not Annapolis, but Crownsville, and say to the governor and say to Ken Holt and your colleagues, you're making a huge difference. You're the second money in, and we're going to make sure it's well used and there's a result. So partnerships are hard. They take a long time. Mark and I were talking on the phone yesterday. Mark has done this through 5 mayors. He's been an advocate. That is a lot of stick-to-itiveness, a lot of positive stuff. This is going to be great. Can't wait for the groundbreaking. Thank you so much.
And I know we're going to hear from our development partners about when that groundbreaking is, maybe tomorrow. Hey, before I introduce the man of the hour, and then we'll get to our developers, I wanted to say, for those of us who are on the receiving ends of Mark's incessant efforts to improve his community, we left out the Department of Public Works. How could we do that? Their phone numbers are on speed dial. Where are our partners in the Department of Public Works? If they could just raise their hands. I see Yvonne Moore-Jackson back there and her teams. Thank you so much for everything that you do and getting here this morning. Appreciate that. I wanted to also say that this RFP award that is part of a pattern of awards that we will be making going forward. This is a new era of investment in our neighborhoods, and we will be continuously, with our state and community partners, working to meet the aspirations of our community leaders. This is just one of many. Mr. Mayor, we were just out in Upton on the 800 blocks of Harlem and Edmondson. We will be out in Park Heights. We will be in Chum. We will be making awards around the city. And this is going to be really a new era for this city of Baltimore. So, with that said, there are people in our neighborhoods that make that happen. And without further ado, let me introduce the hero of the day, Mark Washington.
I do not have prepared remarks, so excuse me if I wander astray. I do want to thank 2 of my friends, Mayor Young, for being here and all his support, and of course, my other friend, City Council President Brandon Scott. But I also want to acknowledge not only those 2 elected officials, but Robert, who works in our neighborhood tirelessly. Those of you may not know it, may not see it, but he gets the job done. I want to thank Senator Washington for being here, and I want to thank all the other elected officials here, most notably one who is not only an elected official, but our partner. I do not see Dana Stein. I see Dana in the back. Delegate Dana Stein is a partner in our sister organization, Civic Works. He and the gentleman to his right, John Seacott, have been with us and standing with us every step of the way. So I want to say thank you all. I also want to thank Monarch Academy, Steve Baldwin, Dr. Andy Ross for believing in this neighborhood enough to not only invest in a school, but to also make the commitment to invest in scattered site vacants. And that's a tremendous lift in the neighborhood. And while we are just starting this endeavor, we have already completed and sold a unit. So thank you all for that. I do want to say that the platitudes that have been bestowed upon me today are maybe a little unwarranted, because I do know that I stand here on the shoulders of others that have come before me. This is not a new vision for Chum. This is a vision that was started in the days of Doris Johnson and Rita Church. And we simply are carrying out that mission and that vision. And so for us to stand here and not to acknowledge those that came before us, I think we would be remiss. And so I do give all credit to those who set the direction for us in Chum to follow. I also want to thank Garland, and I want to thank Larry, They are our state partners. And Larry, for those of you who don't know, may be a big wig in the state of Maryland, but he's also a Chum resident. Larry, can you please just stand up? Yeah. Garland is someone who believes in this community, so much so that he has fought tooth and nail for us to get the funding support from the governor's office that we need and that we deserve, okay? We deserve it. We suffer no illusion about this neighborhood, and we know where we are now, we know where we were, and we know where we're headed to. And so I just want to say in summation that the one person that I think got us to where we are today is someone who has become my friend, Mark Sisman. I met Mark Sisman in Healthy Neighborhoods and pitched to him a novel idea about a challenged community in Baltimore City that at one time was one of the most crime-ridden neighborhoods in the city. And I said to Mark, what we're going to do is we are going to market our schools. We are going to market our fixed assets. We are going to market the people of this community who have been here for so long that they deserve a better day. For some reason, he brought it. He believed it. He decided to invest money in this neighborhood and continues to this day to invest money in this neighborhood as we prepare for what I hope to be a smooth transition for the Lake Clifton campus into something new and wonderful. And so, Mark, I just want to say, sir, thank you. Last but not least is, of course, our council representative, who has been with us every step of the way. Some days we love each other, some days we fight, but we never, yeah, yeah, you're right, Mayor Young. But we have never taken our eye off the ball and our eye off the prize. And so, Mary Pat, I have said it before, and I'll say it again publicly. There is no better council representative in the city of Baltimore. We will miss you when you retire. Thank you. So, I'm done. But I want to acknowledge one last group, and that is the Chum Board. A bunch of people who dare to dream and dare to believe. They are all ages and come from all walks of life. And not just 2 blocks from here, on the corner of Hillen and 30th. A few years ago, we put a sign up on a street lamp. And that sign was dedicated to some of our strongest supporters. Miss Daisy McLean, who is not with us now, please keep her in your thoughts and prayers. Oh, she just had a minor surgery. I'm sorry, didn't mean, I'm sorry. She just had a minor surgery. Minor surgery, sorry. Dora Tapp, Bobby Ford, and Miss Sandy. And so these ladies have been here since the beginning. They walk the streets and alleys with me. They put themselves on the front line in our COP. And I did not have much to offer them in return. And so we decided to put a plaque. If you go up to Hillen and 30th, you'll see it. And the plaque simply reads, persevere. And that speaks to the spirit of this community. We shall persevere. Thank you all so very much. Appreciate it.
All right, I'm gonna have to drop this down a little bit. Whoa. All right. You know, I'm thinking, you look behind us here and see that blight. You can say goodbye to all of that. It's because of this great partnership we have with the state. That's coming down all the way to Hugo. And what's coming up, we want to hear a little bit about it from our developers. Mayor Young, I'd ask you to come up for 1 second, and we're going to have a photo op where we're going to ceremoniously make the award to our developers. But it means a lot. It's not just what we say. Our developers have confidence that this is a market that will support single-family infill home ownership, and they are bringing their capital and their expertise to prove that. And so, Mr. Mayor, this is a representation of the RFP award that we are making today for the first phase of redevelopment in what Mary Pat called the Tivoly Triangle, we all affectionately know as the Tivoly Triangle. And then I think Mark James and the team from Urban Green, if you would say a few words about the development and your confidence here. No, yes, please, after you do that.
Let the church say amen. I'm going to try that again. Let the church say amen. See, Councilmember Clark got me all excited. You know, I grew up in church, so when you start talking like that and children start singing, I thought I saw a metal plate being passed around. I don't know where it went, but if y'all see one, throw a little something in there. And as the pastor of my old church used to say, make sure it doesn't jingle, make sure it can fold. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Mark James. I am the president of Urban Green, LLC. We are excited to be here today. I don't want to say another word without taking some time. I just want to thank the mayor. I want to thank all of our city, state officials, our council members that are taking time to join us today. Certainly thank the Lord above for a great day that we have. And we want to take some time to thank, most importantly, the residents of Coldstream, Homestead, Montebello. We're excited to be here. We are excited for the hope and dreams that you have for this community. And, you know, I want to say to you, it's okay to share your dreams. And it's okay to share them with people who are outside of your immediate circle of friends. It may just happen that someone else will also adopt your dream. I would like to tell you that on behalf of Urban Green and Leon Wiener Associates, we've adopted your dream. We've adopted your hopes. We are looking forward to serving with you, and we're looking forward to making a great project. Before I go into details of our deal, I want to introduce Glenn Brooks from Leon and Wiener Associates. Glenn's going to say some words.
I've told Mark repeatedly he should have been a preacher. You went into the wrong business. But I'm delighted to be here this morning. I feel like I just got a 101 in leadership and who's who in Baltimore, so thank you for that. We appreciate being here. And Leon Wiener and Associates does not generally take on easy projects. This neighborhood's had a few challenges. But as speaker after speaker has talked about, this is a neighborhood of opportunity. And the opportunity in going through the selection process that we saw was the people. The people will rise up. This neighborhood will rise up. And we're going to be your partners in this. We're looking forward to working with all of you. And thank you for inviting us into Baltimore.
So let me start, and I know we have a very short time. I'm going to keep it to a couple of minutes at the most. I just want to start by saying that when we looked at the RFP for this process, and when we looked at the neighborhood and we heard everyone else talking about the challenges, we saw the challenges. But we also live in a time where we have to see the opportunities in the midst of those challenges. We also live in a time when we need to see that the things that look like a vacant lot today are where somebody might be eating their dinner tomorrow. The things that look like a street or a corridor that seems blighted to everyone else, if we look at it for what it is tomorrow, we can understand that it's a place where people sit out on their front stoops, talk to their neighbors, watch their children come home from school, and take time to do things that families do with each other. When we looked at this project, we wanted to say one quick question to ourselves. The question was, do we want to build tomorrow the same way we would have built a house 30 or 40 years ago? And our answer to that was no. Not that a house 30 or 40 years ago was terrible, but we know we can do things better. We know that we can build housing today that is both reflective of our concern and our care and our hopes and dreams, not just for the city, not just for our local residents, not just for the state of Maryland, but for the planet environmentally, for the city and the state as a whole, and for all those that are not just here now, but for those that will come here to live. One thing that I want to recommend to everyone is that you're going to have to get used to seeing people that aren't from your neighborhood. They're coming. Why? Because you offer something great, which is a great place to live. You're offering something great, which is the great people that live here. And so as we looked at our project, we realized that doing something different meant we want to do the following. As you have mentioned, as you see here, we've offered a 79-unit home ownership project. The way we wanted to build these homes is that we know that today we have enough technology to build homes that generate 100% of their own energy. Get used to hearing that term, net zero energy. It's coming. If you've been paying attention to the news very recently, we just recently passed a new bill in the state that has now become law, where the state of Maryland will be moving towards, I think it's 50% renewable energies by the year 2030. And we're thinking that we can go even beyond. Projects like Tivoly are going to help the state to move in that direction, while at the same point in time providing jobs for local individuals, same point in time being able to create opportunities for contracting, and at the same point in time, and get this, y'all, get this, I want you all to understand that we expect this community to be an award-winning community, that we want to carry this out with a spirit of excellence that other communities around the city and around the country will strive to replicate. But we know we can't do that without you. We hope that you will give us grace if we make mistakes, and know that we are men of honor, men and women of honor, who will, when we make mistakes, own up to them, correct them, and move forward. So we're looking forward to working with you. As being held up here, hey, Devin, what's being held up here is we've listed for everyone an overview of the project plan. Our phase 1 of the development will be here along Tivoly, where we will do 39 units. That will be a mix of 2 and 3 bedroom houses, both single family and duplex. In phase 2, when that gets cleared, we'll do another 40 units. That will be a large mix of single family. And so as we look at how we structure these deals, my daughter.
That's his first mistake, so forgive him.
Yeah, the first one. I'm sure more will happen. I'm human. So as we're looking at this project and as we're thinking about how this came together, we realized that one of the things we're going to have to do is sit down and talk to you guys. So here comes my first request. We are proposing and we have planned to implement 3 community charrettes where we can get some feedback from the residents about what we have proposed as our development team is putting together the final design elements of the project. So we don't want to have anyone say that we weren't concerned about the people and that we weren't concerned about getting feedback. We do need you to teach us. We do need to share what we know and see if we can come to a vision that works for everyone. And in the process of doing that, we know we can't do it without our team, and I want to take a moment to acknowledge them before I sit down. And guys, if I forget anybody, I'm going to try to do this off the top of my memory. But I see Living Design Labs. Devin, you want to raise your hand? Our architect right here in Baltimore. Kimley Horn, our civil engineers, also Baltimore-based. I don't know if they could be represented today. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I thought I saw you. Give them a hand, please. SETI Engineers, who also has a Baltimore office here, is our mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineers. Very well known both here and globally. And I'm extra excited, and she probably didn't know I'm going to call her out, but I see Cherie around here. But we're extra excited about Power 52 and our partnership with them to create some job training opportunities. And we're also excited about that partnership with Civic Works. I see our friends from Civic Works there in the back. And I don't want to forget our solar providers, our Edge Solar, Edge Energy. Joe's over here representing them today. Rest assured, we have a great team. We have a Baltimore-based team. We have a vision that represents what I believe is to be the hope and aspirations of this community. And we look forward to working with each and every one of you. God bless you.
Thank you, Mark. See, in Baltimore, really, it's a matter of assembling our land and managing an RFP process with our colleagues and getting our land out there. There are development opportunities all over Baltimore City. And I want to just, forgive me, but I'm just going to highlight, Mr. Mayor, before I close this out. I just want to ask Jay Green to raise his hand. Yeah, sorry about that, Jay. He's our Chief Operating Officer of the Department of Housing and Community Development, who leads all of our development efforts, and he's going to be the guy leading those tough negotiations with these developers to bring an LDA over to the Board of Estimates. So thank you, Jay, for all the work you do to make this happen around the city. This brings us to the end of the program, and it's a celebration. It's a new beginning.